So let's continue with this question, which gives you the structure of the plant, right? Showing movement of sucrose from the source to the sink. So the source is shown here, right? And then the sink is further down somewhere at the bottom here, right? This is the sink here, right? So with reference to the figure, name an example of source and sink. So I think I'll take opportunity for you to actually make sure you learn this up correctly. Source is any part of the plant that supplies the plant with carbohydrate. Okay. Okay. Carbohydrate. So any part of the plant that can supply the plant with carbohydrate. So therefore, there are two parts. Either the leaves, which is the photosynthetic organ, or you can mention the cells in the leaf, the mesophyll cells. Mesophyll cells, spongy mesophyll. So it can be spongy mesophyll, apellicate mesophyll cells, okay? Or it can be the storage organ, right? You see certain plant when, let's say for example, winter time, and then there's not enough sunlight, it's very cold. Photosynthesis rate is either very slow, or when there's no leaf, no photosynthesis, but the cells that are alive will still need to produce ATP. So where do they get the carbohydrate for photosynthesis? It must be from the storage organ, right? So it could be from the root. Let's say, for example, carrot. It can be from stem tuber like potato. The tuber is from the stem. Okay, so therefore, source is anywhere in the plant which can supply the plant with the carbohydrate. It doesn't have to be only the leaf, okay? And sink is anywhere in the plant which requires to use the carbohydrate. And the carbohydrate can be used in two ways. Please remember, two ways. No? Okay, two ways. What are the two ways? First, the very basic one, carbohydrate. All cells will use carbohydrate for what purpose? Joey. All cells will use carbohydrate for what purpose?
For ATP.
Very good. For aerobic respiration, right? In order to synthesize ATP. Very good. So for aerobic respiration, in order to synthesize ATP for the cell to do all sorts of work, right? You name it. It can be anabolic, movement, what else? Active transport, okay? Now, other than aerobic respiration, the next one that the carbohydrate be used is actually for growth. Growth means what? Remember, by now you already know growth means cell division, right? Cell division, cell elongation, and cell differentiation is growth. So it's a very big topic. Now, which part, a lot of processes involved, which part will need the carbohydrate? Of course, when you want to produce new cells, you need to produce protein, which act as enzyme, or protein which act as the microtubules, a protein which act as carrier protein, channel protein. So these are all the transport proteins, right? Okay, so you need to produce proteins for growth, and you need to produce phospholipids to produce the membrane. You need to produce cholesterol to produce the membrane. You need to produce new organelles. So this is for growth. You need to produce DNA for cell division. So this is growth. Okay? So therefore, when you study biology, if you can classify the process like this very clearly, biology is very easy. It is very easy. It's not easy when you cannot classify because you've not learned up the basic. This is called the basic, right? Now I show you like this. Can you see it's so easy to understand? So therefore, when you learn biology, invest your time wisely to learn up the detail. Don't say, never mind, I study last minute. It's when you study last minute that you try to rush, you cannot have ample of time for you to understand clearly the entire process and link everything together. When you can link together is when everything has become so easy. So the first initial investment of time is so crucial in biology. So you need to be willing to invest the time to make biology easy for you. Biology is easy, not because it's easy, because you've invested the time to learn it, it becomes easy. Okay? Name cell C and D. Cell C is okay, sieve tube element. Why a student never score? Because they didn't write the word element. Okay, sieve tube is actually many cells, but they ask you to name the cell as element. D is companion cell, which can also be called transfer cell. Okay, now the next question is when a lot of students do not answer the question and write a lot of things that are not necessary. You see, the question asks a student to only explain how sucrose it travels from the source to cell C only, and 3 marks, right? 3 marks. So that means you only need to tell me, I only want to know the process from the source to cell C. So the source to cell C means from here to here. That means it's from here to here only. I only want the answers from here. So if you write any answers, for example, student who write from source to sink, this one no mark because the question didn't ask you. So you only tell me the part that the question asked, which means to say again, write minimum, score maximum. Means only answer what the question asks. Can or not? Okay, so let's look at the answer. First, proton is actively pumped out from companion cells to where? To the mesophyll cell walls. So I only teach you up to here, right? That actually says all the way until mesophyll cell wall. For me, until the cell wall is already enough. That means from here, it's actively pumped across the membrane into the mesophyll cell wall is actually here. This cell wall here. This cell wall here. Okay, but to the cell wall is already sufficient. So after that, what happened is co-transported. Sucrose is co-transported with proton into the cell. Or you say it's transported by co-transporter also can. So after that, we say that sucrose diffused down its concentration gradient into the sieve tube element through the plasmodesmata. Okay, so when sucrose is being transported into the cell by co-transporter, that means its concentration will increase. Concentration of sucrose will increase here. So because of that, it will diffuse into the companion cell down its concentration gradient through the plasmodesmata. Ta means 2. Plasmodesma means 1. Okay, so learn up this part here, which I didn't stress when I teach you. Concentration of sucrose. Okay, so that's all the answer, you know, for this part. So that's why you don't have to write things that the question didn't ask you. Okay,